What's going on? I've got my good friend Elena on today. We recently connected through social media, so I'm dying to dive into today's episode to kind of see what's going on with you. How was your day? I know we're basically on the opposite sides of the world right now.
We are. It's actually night for me, so my day is already gone, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you so much for this connection. The day is always different here. Today felt like it was November. There was fog and cold and rainy, and yesterday the mountains were beautiful, lots of sun. I'm in the Himalayas right now in the northern part of India, so it's a little bit different from what we're used to, in the U.S. But it's beautiful. The mountains are glorious, so it's all good.
Nice. I love that. It's starting to get a little bit cooler here right now. So I'm excited for the fall weather to kind of start rolling in. But before we get too sidetracked, I would love for you to introduce yourself a little bit about what it is you do and who you help, if you could.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a global holistic advisor and a spiritual teacher. And I help busy professionals navigate through life's challenges and transitions using holistic modalities from around the world.
Mm.
So it's quite interesting, the different group of people that I get to work with because they all come from different backgrounds. I have students that are interested in really deepening their spiritual practice. So we talk more about mindfulness or meditation or their yoga practice. And then I have other clients who are more interested into creating space within themselves to really understand what it is that they want out of life. Because as you know, there's more to life than, as I say, paying bills and losing weight. So they understand that there is more, but they don't know how to get there. So I love what I do, and I've been doing this for quite some time now. I used to do it in person, but then life changed, and so now it's exclusively online. And I love this opportunity of meeting people from different parts of the world, no matter where you are in the world, right? We're always connected. That's the beauty of the internet. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what I do.
I love that too. I love the being able to be connected with everybody pretty much everywhere. And I'm guessing work has brought you to the Himalayas. How did you find yourself where you are right now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I've always been interested in deepening my personal practice in order to actually walk the walk that I'm teaching and not just teaching it. And the reason why I came here is because I wanted to deepen my own journey and really understand what it is that I wanted out of life. And the when I left and I came here, it was a huge life change because I left. I was already 51, and I figured I had no time to waste because it's never too late. But life goes on, and if you don't bite the bullet and you just do what you want to do, time just keeps rolling, and then you run out of time. So when my kids went to college, I decided that I didn't want to have the same life anymore, that I didn't want to be at home with an empty nest. And I've always been connected to India because I study Eastern philosophies. And India has always been really close to my heart because of the teachings and the space that it gives me when I come here to really understand myself. And so I took that leap of faith and I left a very comfortable life behind, and I packed a couple of things and I came here. And it has not always been easy because it's quite challenging here. It's very different from what I was used to. I'm originally from Italy, so I went from Italy to the US and then from the US to here. And
Mm.
it's I really feel like I am embodying the teachings that I share with my clients. I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs or female busy professionals who feel trapped, who don't really know how to get out of the matrix of, being an entrepreneur and being a mom and being a wife or a partner, and they just don't enjoy life anymore. They get to be my age and they feel stuck. So I really encourage them to change and change the things that you're not happy with, because nobody's coming to save you and rescue you. You have to do it yourself. So
Mm.
that's the reason why I'm here, to really deepen my journey, and it has really taken me to another dimension, because all the things that we worry about in the Western world here don't exist. Here it's literally about survival. Where I am here, actually, there are tigers and bears coming out at night and early in the morning. So when I walk my dogs in the morning, my aim is to look around to make sure that there are no tiger tracks, or that the bear hasn't come down during the night, as opposed to being in the US, where maybe I would go and get a cup of coffee somewhere. And
Yeah.
so it's really survival here. It's really bringing you back to who you truly are, and making peace with yourself. Because if you're not at peace with yourself, you can't make it here, because
Mm.
of how the conditioning is created.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what were some of these major differences or experiences that you've experienced, I guess, since the move. But first I want to ask you, how do you handle that kind of stress, though? Because aren't you potentially always in
Yeah,
some form of danger?
yeah. But aren't we all potentially always in a form of danger, if you think about it? I mean, anything can
Mm.
happen at any moment for no reason at all, just because it can. So,
Yeah.
in the difference between the way that I see it, the difference between being in the West is that you feel more cocooned, that you have all
Mm.
these distractions that they don't make you realize that there's very little that you're in control of. We feel we
Mm.
are in control, but ultimately, through my personal experiences and my studies, I've realized that there is very little that we can control. I mean, we can control our schedule, what we eat, who we hang out with. We can make plans, but then we don't know the bigger picture. I call it divine grace. We don't know what divine grace has planned for us. So here you're really down to earth. Here your main worries are, okay, how am I going to go get my food, because I have to go down the mountain. And I don't know if you heard, but there has been a lot of disaster here, was because of the monsoon. So the mountains have fallen, and I was actually out of contact for about a week with no water, no electricity,
Wow.
and yeah, it was quite and two dogs, which was great because they kept me company. But even going out with them, it was dangerous. There was no more road.
Yeah.
Literally the mountain have caved in. So how do I keep the peace of mind, you asked me, or a lot of mindfulness, a lot of really staying focused to the present moment. You know how the brain goes all over the place, right?
Hmm.
And you just start worrying about the things that can happen in the future, or the things that you made in the past that you're not happy with, or reminiscing, and you're always somewhere else but the present moment. But actually, what I've learned by being in these circumstances is that all I have is right now. Like right now, I'm okay. Right now, I have Wi Fi. You can hear me. The connection is great. I don't know what's going to happen. Right before we came on the call, I had no electricity. And I was thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? But then electricity came. So it's really appreciating the little things that we take for granted. I had no water for a week. So imagine, I mean, that's not even fathomable in the West, being without water for a week. But you make do. You really understand what is important in life, what really matters, and that ultimately everything that you need is inside of you. That peace that we all search for is not in the Himalayas, is not in New York, is not in Milan, is not in Rome. It's within you, no matter where you are. But you need to come here to understand that. Right? Makes sense.
Kind of, yeah. So what is it about the Himalayas? Is it the fact that there's so much less distractions to grab your attention, and with the less distraction, it gives you that opportunity to really kind of appreciate what you currently do have? Because what I'm hearing you
Yeah.
say, it sounds like you're talking a lot about gratitude and shifting the perspective of what you're grateful for. It's not all these different knickknacks and TV shows and internet and technology and things like that. It's just life and water and just the essentials, right? It's kind of what I'm hearing you
Yes.
say.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of the great masters came from the Himalayas because the mountains already are giving you a different outlook on life. It's almost like there is another type of energy here. They're majestic. They're huge. They're full of nature. There are birds singing all day long. Then I told you there are tigers, there are bears, but um, it's a whole lot. It's very quiet. There's no one around. It's very isolated, and there are temples everywhere. You can smell incense pretty much all day long. There are ceremonies. So it's a community of people that is really close to each other because we're all helping each other survive because we don't know what's going to happen, like I said, one day with the other, and the resources are very minimal. So you really, like you said, you really get into a deep state of gratitude for the things that you have and also for the things that you don't have. I'm grateful that I don't have a TV because I'm not really interested in learning everything that's going on because it's overwhelming. And again, by wanting to know everything that goes on, I feel like it's almost like a form of control. I need to control everything that's happening. But do I really need to know that? So here it's going back to simplicity. That's the best way that I can put it, and really appreciate yourself. You really have to be in touch with your emotions and really be able to navigate them all. Because that
Mm.
1 week that I was here alone with no electricity and no water, I did lose it a couple of times because I didn't know. I didn't know how long it was going to last. I was running out of food. I had very little food for my dogs, and I did lose it because I was panicking. But
Yeah.
then when I went back and I said, okay, everything is going to be fine. Everything always works in divine order. And then things appeared. People brought me things and electricity a little bit came back. I was able to charge my phone in the car. So, um, yeah, it's a complete different type of life. Now, I don't know that I want to have this life forever. Let me just be clear. I don't know that, I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to be like, okay, this is enough. I've learned, and I don't know that we ever learn enough, but maybe I reached a point where it's enough for me. And I feel that
Hmm.
I can still give back to my clients and students 100% with a deeper knowledge of myself, but maybe from another place. Instead of
Mm.
here, maybe I can go somewhere that is a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and I mean that must be such an incredible feeling of growth going through that situation that you're talking about with the monsoons and losing the electricity, and that just speaks volumes of your awareness of everything, because being consciously aware of the different emotions that you're experiencing, and the fear and the ups and downs and the roller coaster, and being able to reflect back on that and say, wow, yeah, now I'm a little bit more in touch with those different emotions and feelings and stuff like that. And that's just crazy there. And yeah, I can totally hear you when you're saying that there might be a deadline to experiencing
Yes,
all this stuff, different things. I totally feel you on that.
absolutely. But the way that I look at it, once you face your fears,
Hmm.
they can't they can't scare you anymore. They can't hurt you anymore. When you really sit with the pain, because we're so quick to say, oh, this is a hurtful feeling. I don't want to feel the pain, so let me medicate in any form, overeating, over drinking, pills, whatever it is. because I cannot sit with this uncomfortable feeling. But what about if you actually sat with it? What's the worst that can happen? Once you have sat with it and you have felt the pain, 100% from 0 to 100, you felt it. Then what? Then you already know what it feels like, and so it can't hurt you anymore. Do you see what I mean? It's the escape that since we're kids, we want to move away from the pain and only have pleasure, only enjoy pleasurable things. But life isn't made of that. One of my teachers told me many years ago, don't expect life to give you what it has not promised. And that's so beautiful, because you expect life to only give you beauty, only give you pleasure. But life didn't say that. Also, life didn't say that it was always going to be hard. It's a mix. So why can you not sit with the unhappy feeling, with the pain, and feel it? Get into a panic attack, get into a screaming attack, cry, hit, whatever. But stay with that feeling, because once you pass it, well, it's gone.
Yeah.
That
I
has
love
been my theory.
I mean, I love that because I'm always catching myself telling others and myself that you can't appreciate the sunshine without a little bit of rain. And perfect example of that, just this past week I was on vacation with my girlfriend's family, and the first 4 days of the vacation were all just rainy and gloomy, terrible weather, and it kind of put a damper on the vacation because we didn't get to do a lot of the things that we wanted to. But I kept reminding myself that, hey, it's the sun's coming out on the second half of the vacation, and it's just going to help me and everybody else appreciate sitting on the beach in the sun when we do have that, because it really does shape that perspective. Kind of going back to what you're saying about moving to the Himalayas and really bringing the awareness of what you're actually grateful for. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. We see the world as we see ourselves. It's really
mm,
that. We see the world as we see ourselves. I love the rain. So for me, being on vacation with the rain would have been great. But for
mm,
someone who wants to go to vacation and be on the beach, be at the beach under the sun, obviously rain isn't good. But some people love hot weather, so if it's cold it's not good. Some people love cold weather, so if it's not like that, they're not happy. It's really coming almost in a state of neutrality, where you can accept what comes and just say, okay, right now I am dealing with this. What can I do to stay focused on this thing that I'm dealing with? And then eventually I'm going to move on to something else. So I stay focused to the present moment and the task at hand. Because really, that's all it is, instead of going in the past or the future, because the future brings you anxiety because it's uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you can plan, but then you got to be open to possibilities. And the past, it's gone. I mean, it shaped who you are right now, but you can't go back and fix it. So I say to myself, and my clients, I always say, hey, you have done the best that you could at that time, because a lot of people have a lot of guilt for the things that they did in the past. And I always remind them that we always try to do the best that we can. Maybe the best that you did at that one time is not the best that you would do right now, because now you have more knowledge.
mm.
But cut yourself some slack and really be kind to yourself, because we're so critical of ourselves, right? And then maybe we're kind with everybody else, but not with ourselves. So
That's so
yeah.
true. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, the future, if you worry too much about what's going to happen, certainly brings that anxiety. And if you dwell too much on the past, that's where the depression kind of kicks in. And really, the best place to be is present, but not enough people focus or have the awareness to focus on the present. And it's
Well,
it's
that's why
it's a
we're
shame.
here.
Yeah,
We're here to remind them that, right?
exactly. And so, how do you keep yourself constantly in the awareness of the presence, and how do you help your clients make sure that they're focused on the presence? Because it is pretty easy to start thinking about what's to come and getting anxious about what I have to do,
Hmm.
what should be happening, and it's just as easy as we were saying to kind of reflect on the past and get stuck on that. So what are some tips or tricks that you kind of use to kind of keep yourself grounded in the present?
Well, the first thing that my practice is a little bit different from the one that I recommend to my clients. So I'm going to tell you what I do normally with, well, every client is different because everybody comes with different modalities and dynamics. A common ground, something that I share with all of them, is to practice mindfulness. And mindfulness means that you stay, like I was saying, focused on the task at hand. And the best way to practice that is to focus on your breathing. So if you notice, when you are calm, your breathing reflects that. When you get agitated, when you start thinking about the future and you get agitated, thinking about that, your breathing changes, it becomes faster. When you start being stressed, it becomes even faster. When you're angry, then your whole body gets into this fight or flight mode, right? So you want to prevent all that by being focused on what you're doing, by focusing on breathing in and breathing out. So that's the first thing that I share with all my clients. Focus on your breathing. And most people never focus on their breathing. They don't even know how to do that. And you tell them, take a deep breath, exhale. They get all panicky because they're not used to really taking a long, slow inhale and long, slow exhale, because the breathing brings you back to right now. And when you're focusing on your breathing, since the brain can only think about one thing at a time, we think it can think about a lot, but it cannot. It can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you're focusing on your breathing, automatically you're brought to the present moment. And then, of course, there is the time management, because if you have a million things to do and then you're a procrastinator, well, that of course gives way to anxiety, because you got all this stuff on your list, but you're procrastinating. So we would work through that. I use a lot I don't know if you're familiar with this, they're called the morning pages, which is an exercise that was created by Julia Cameron, who is an author. And she was saying every morning when you wake up, before you do anything else, write 3 pages of handwriting of anything that's in your head. And she calls it the mind dump. It's not journaling, because journaling kind of brings back everything that you have relived. It's like reliving everything that you have done, and some people don't like that. But the morning pages is a great practice for you to literally drop everything that's in the brain onto these pages. And it's just free writing, anything that's in your head. So already with that practice, you have less clutter in the head. You have more freedom in between the thoughts. So already you start your day on a good note. They're literally called morning pages. It's 3 of them every day. And I recommend everyone to do them. I've been doing them for years. When you come out of the 3 pages, you feel like, whoo, like you took a deep breath, you know? And then of course, I always recommend the power of praying. I prefer to work with people who have some kind of connection with a deeper source, with a higher spirit, however you wish to interpret that. Because I believe that when you have faith into something bigger than yourself, you become really larger, because you understand that you're not alone, that you're not committed to just being this person that you're here, but there's so much more to you, that you become invincible. And when you become invincible, you become stronger. And when you become stronger, you can manifest more things. You can really manifest the reality that you want, because you don't feel trapped into the smallness of being human.
Yeah, I
So,
love that. That's some incredible stuff, and I'm gonna definitely try out this morning pages technique, because I do a gratitude journal every morning. I just kind of shifting into that almost, where I just mention 3 things that I'm grateful for. It could be something as simple as the weather or somebody I was in contact with recently, and I just kind of let it flow. I just talk about one thing and then I kind of let it go on a little bit more, and it's kind of developing into that morning pages like you're talking about. And I think if I were to push it a little bit further to just let myself do that kind of brain dump, I definitely feel like I would benefit greatly from that. So that's
Oh,
something I'm going to
definitely.
totally get into. And yeah, I love
Yeah.
the whole the being spiritual and thinking a little bit bigger than just yourself, and really tapping in with the whole universe and everything else around. I feel like that's such a great way of raising your own energy levels and just making sure that everything's a little bit more positive and such. So I
Yeah.
love all those tips that you just gave. Appreciate you sharing those. Um,
Absolutely. That's what the mountains here do. They make you understand that you're part of them. Going back to one of the questions that you asked me, the mountains give you that grandiosity, that big space that you come from. And one thing that I wanted to say about affirmation really quickly is that affirmations are great and gratitude lists are great. It's the energy that comes with them, because you can make the longest gratitude list and the longest affirmation. But if the energy that you're using while you're doing them is not vibrating high, but you're coming from a place of either poverty consciousness or closeness, they're not going to work. You can do three affirmations or three gratitude, three things that you're grateful for, as long as you come from a place of abundance and joy and really understanding the beauty and being really thankful for the things that you already have. Then they become even more spacious, and for sure they're helping calling in what it is that you wish to bring in.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. Appreciate that so much. I do want to be conscious of your time. I know your different side of the
Absolutely.
world is getting kind of late over there, but you got anything you're currently working on or building, or anything going on with coaching and stuff like that?
I am actually, yes, I'm offering a special now for 2 sessions. I'm not going to say the price here, but 2 sessions at a much discounted price that I normally do my one-on-ones. And I'm also doing a meditation retreat in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, from the 11th of October to the 18th. So people can reach out to me at Move Your Spirit with Elena.com, Move Your Spirit with Elena.com.
Awesome. And that's where you'll have information on your coaching and also the retreat, both on that
Yes,
website.
the retreat is not there. The retreat is more on Instagram. I talk about it a lot on Instagram, and it's still Move Your Spirit with Elena, also on Instagram. On my website, it's all about the coaching. I write on a blog, so it's about my blogs. It's about the podcast. It's my social media. So everything is in the home of my website.
Awesome. So there you go. Visit the website to touch base a little bit more. Again, I gotta say
Thank
I
you.
appreciate so much for having taken the time to kind of share a bunch of these tips and a little bit about your story. Before I let you go, though, I gotta ask you, if you were to start completely fresh again in your own entrepreneurial journey, what would be your number one piece of advice for yourself in order to survive the side hustle?
Have a clear idea of what your purpose is, and then everything will come to you. But you have to be really clear on what your purpose is.
Oh, I love that. I love it, and it really. I wrote down a bunch of notes over here for all these other tips and tricks that you kind of shared with us, and I appreciate you so much for taking the time. I know it's getting late over
Thank
there for
you.
you, and I
Thank
would
you
love
so
to have
much
you
for.
back on in the future. So we'll have to square something up and have you hop on as a part two.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks.
All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye.